Celebrating 70 years of coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, Texas Rangers are investigating fraud allegations in the city of Slayton. Plus, a group of Lubbock residents have filed a complaint against the city over new zoning laws. And there's a new proposal in Lubbock before the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding a new student housing complex, where it would go and why area residents are concerned. These are the stories we have for you this morning. We'll get to that in a moment. Good morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Angie Wynn. Steve Devine has your forecast in just a moment, and Michael Cantu is working on several things from overnight. Hi, Michael.
Good morning, Angie. Well, we're checking for updates on a wildfire in Texas. It's taken out a few homes already, and we give you some details on why a judge is allowing a lawsuit by Prince Harry to proceed in London. But for now, let's turn to Steve. Get a check of our local forecast. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, and the morning is pretty mild weather-wise. Temperatures are quite warm still. We'll look in on some of that here coming up a little bit later. Yesterday, Lubbock hit 100 degrees. It was the 21st time this year, 21st day, where Lubbock has hit at least 100 degrees. So right now, 2023 has the 8th most 100-degree days in Lubbock's record. That record now is 112 and a half years old. Goes back to 1911. I think we have 13 years in the record that have more than 21 days with triple-digit highs. Coming up today, many of us will not quite make it to that triple-digit mark, but it's still going to be very hot. Lubbock at 99 degrees. So again, that's really close to that 100-degree mark. Coming up in the forecast, we'll take a look at the weekend, and we'll take a look at early next week too.
Is this where the dog days of summer comes in? Is that what that's about?
Typically it's August, but this pattern is pretty much like that.
All
so
right.
That fits.
All right, thanks, Steve. Making headlines this morning, the University of Colorado may be returning to the Big 12. Big 12 chancellors and presidents voted last night to accept Colorado. The university's Board of Regents will hold a special meeting today on whether to officially apply for Big 12 membership. Sources say the Big 12 has been in talks with the CU for weeks about possibly leaving the Pac-12. The school was actually a founding member of the Big 12 before joining Pac-12 in 2011. If the university returns, it will join BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida as the newest Big 12 members. Meanwhile, Texas and Oklahoma are scheduled to leave the conference next year. At this hour, voluntary evacuation orders are in effect in one small Texas town. Michael's tracking the latest from the News Now desk. What do we know, Michael?
Well, Angie, this is in the town of Bloom, nearly 50 miles south of Fort Worth. Right now, the Texas A&M Forest Service says 5 homes are destroyed. Now, the Forest Service reports the fire has grown to 250 acres and is only 20% contained. As of now, authorities say they have stopped the fire from spreading, though. Now they're working on making sure it is contained. Firefighters have been using ground and air forces to do so. At the moment, there's no word on how this started. No injuries have been reported. Angie.
Thanks, Michael. Now to a developing story. Our KCBD Investigates team is working to learn more about allegations of mismanaged funds within the city of Slayton. KCBD News Channel 11's investigative reporter Shaylee Sanders tells us what she learned from the Texas Attorney General's office and why the city of Slayton will not answer certain questions.
We've learned that Texas Rangers are investigating allegations of fraud against a former City of Slayton employee. In May of last year, Slayton City Council voted to hire a company to conduct a forensic audit. In March of this year, council members met with their attorney in executive session about the results of that audit. Council then returned to open session where members voted unanimously to present the findings of the report to law enforcement. We requested a copy of the forensic audit and any disciplinary and/or legal action taken as a result of the findings. The city argues it does not have to release that information because it could harm the Texas Rangers investigation. In this letter to the Attorney General's office, the city also claims the case is being reviewed for potential criminal prosecution by the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office. The DA's office would not comment. Now it's up to the Attorney General's office to determine if the city needs to let its residents see the results of an audit they paid for. We'll let you know what the AG's office decides.
Thank you, Shaylee. Here in Lubbock, a coalition of residents has filed a civil rights complaint against the city, claiming its latest zoning law continues a cycle of segregation and racism against Black and Hispanic homeowners on the north and east side of town. The City of Lubbock's new Unified Development Code places a large portion of North and East Lubbock for industrial use, which is why the North and East Lubbock Coalition says the new zoning will force residents to deal with pollution, lower property values, and a lower quality of life. However, attorney Adam Pirtle says there are ways to change it.
There are a lot of opportunities right now to do things like vacant industrial land next to neighborhoods, change that to something else so that you have commercial. Folks want to have great amenities and quality of life in these neighborhoods. So you could put commercial there, you get restaurants to come in, you get more banks to come in, you get more grocery stores to come in.
The new zoning rules will go into effect this October. Meanwhile, the Lubbock Planning and Zoning Commission will hear a proposal today for a new student housing complex. This would be in central Lubbock. The proposed complex is a 7-story student housing apartment complex at 14th Street and Avenue X. Some residents in the South Overton neighborhood say they have reported issues in the past with students. They have concerns now about adding hundreds more, along with vehicles in an already high traffic area.
If we allow commercial entities, high-density housing, retail to encroach any further into the neighborhood, it is just going to continue to chip away at the quality of life that we as residents enjoy and want to keep.
The Planning and Zoning Commission will hear today's agenda at 6 p.m. We will bring you any updates on air and online at kcbd.com. In La Mesa, the fire marshal's office along with police are asking for your help in locating a man accused of felony arson. They are searching for this man, 26-year-old Isaac Parades. He is currently wanted for 2 felony counts of arson. Anyone with information on his location is asked to call investigators with the La Mesa Police Department or the La Mesa Fire Marshal's office. Michael?
And right now, Shell has some new data out. In a report released this morning, the oil company shows a drop in second quarter profits. Execs say this is because lower fossil fuel prices and refining margins. Now, the expectation for this quarter was to make at least $6 billion, but the company only posted $5.1 billion. Now, right now, the company shares are slipping in overseas trading. Shell also just announced a new $3 billion share buyback initiative. Angie?
Thank you. Taking a look around the globe this morning, President Biden has decided to let the U.S. cooperate with the International Criminal Court's investigation of Russian war crimes in Ukraine. It marks an historic shift after months of internal debate at the Capitol. This will be the first time the U.S. has agreed to share evidence with the court in the Netherlands. U.S. officials say the Biden administration has been gathering evidence of alleged war crimes in Ukraine over the course of the war. The United States is not a party to the ICC, but the president says there needs to be accountability for those responsible. Checking in now with Steve Devine. He's in the First Alert Forecast Center with all you need to know as you start your Thursday morning. Hi, Steve.
Good morning, and once again the basic weather pattern not changing very much at all today compared to the last couple of days. Earlier I mentioned Lubbock had another triple-digit high yesterday. The high here was 100 degrees, 6 degrees above the average for the date, 5 degrees short of the record for the date. It was on the date back in 1995. For the month so far, our precipitation total is about 2/3 of an inch behind the average. For the year so far, we're a little over 9 inches. That is about 1 3/4 inches behind the average this time of year. Sunrise today, 6:56 a.m., sunset 8:51. Sunrise is getting a little bit later each day, sunsets a little bit earlier. So right now we have our tower cam here over at Avenue A looking to the northwest. This is Interstate 27. Northbound would be to the right-hand side of your screen there, just to give you some perspective. 77 degrees at the Lubbock Airport, just a few clouds drifting by. Winds are on the light side, still quite hazy. You see that haze and some of the lights of the city showing up right there. So we're still looking at, again, West Texas standards, some pretty humid conditions. Now, yesterday's high was 100. Today, it's really not going to feel any different. 99 degrees. So my forecast is just below that 100-degree mark on the Caprock and just right around to a little bit above the 100-degree mark off the Caprock. We have no weather advisories in effect for us, but you can see the heat advisories in orange and the excessive heat warnings in magenta across a great deal of the central part of the country, extending into the northeast. Things there heating up a bit. Our 7-day forecast coming up here in a few minutes.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Steve. It's 6:09, still to come on Daybreak today. Friendship ISD is adding more school zones in Lubbock. We'll look into how this might affect traffic. Plus, the streaming service Peacock is releasing a new series, and it's based on a Sony PlayStation game. These stories and more are on the way. The whole team's here helping you into your day. You're watching Daybreak today on News Channel 11.